Hey, good looking. What's going on, Ellen? Hi, Ellen.
How are you? Are you doing okay?
Thank the Lord.
Hang it in there, huh? Hang it in there.
How about you?
Okay, Baruch Hashem, called the Seder. Probably finish the Perek today, huh? Yeah, like we're
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
finish the Perek today, yeah.
Got some short blocks.
Yeah. Yeah. What's happening in the market with it didn't want to follow it. It's still going down because of Ukraine.
Market for me was very strong today.
Yeah, really.
NASDAQ was strong. Technology, pandemic stocks were strong. All the aerospace defense companies, Boeing, Lockheed, very strong. All of the energy stocks, solar, wind, all these guys, renewable energies, especially oil and gas too, strong.
Wow.
The banks were weak because of the sanctions against Russia.
Because they make a lot of money from that.
From laundering Russian money,
Oh, yes. So I think the oligarchs are going to put pressure on Putin?
No
control, nothing.
No. Putin will torture them all to death. They know that. They know that their wealth can't buy them protection from Putin. I don't think anybody overthrows Putin.
You don't think
I think this is super dangerous. I think at some point the West starts to send in troops or planes or something, because this is going to be civilian bombing. Yeah, and there's always a danger that he's going to press the nuclear button. So I don't know what it'll be, but I think it's very dangerous.
So why are the stocks so strong if they're not afraid of it?
Because what are you going to do to prevent your portfolio? There's nothing to hedge for nuclear war.
It's true,
I mean, what are you going to do? Put it in cash? What good's that going to do? You know what I'm saying?
Put it under your mattress.
There's nothing. There's no hedge. There's nowhere to hide. So short of nuclear war, everything's fine.
I was listening to a tape by Rabbi Manis Friedman yesterday. He says by Purim, the Mashiach's going to come.
Possible.
Yeah. Just like as good as not coming, right? At least there's a 50% chance.
Yeah.
50-50 chance. So
may as well be an optimist.
He is. He's a big optimist. Yeah.
Is he still in Minnesota?
He sure is. Yeah. His beard's bigger than ever, wider than ever. Yeah. Such a nice man.
Oh, yeah. All those Lubavitchers are lovely.
They are. They all like that, right? Oh, Harold's back.
Yeah, how you feeling?
Hey,
Hi, Alan.
You're back from New York so fast.
Yeah, I saw your daughter at the wedding.
She told me, yeah. I heard it was a beautiful wedding.
Oh, it was very nice. Wow, it was very nice.
Who'd you go to, Dror? Who'd you go to?
Weberman.
Oh, you went to Weberman. So nice.
Yes.
Yeah, one daughter. So nice, yeah.
Yeah, very nice wedding.
I heard he was a nice boy. That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a good, nice boy. It was pretty far out. It was an old Westbury, It's in the middle of Long Island.
How do you get out there?
I had to take an Uber. It's $125
each way.
Each way. I could have flown there cheaper.
Oh, I know. My goodness. Oh, my goodness.
Nobody wanted to go. I had to convince the Uber guy.
Long Island Railroad.
I should have. Yeah.
Wow. Uh,
But it was nice.
I have to
That's-
fly Akiva home for Pesach. So I
Yeah.
was looking at flights. So, round trip this, that 1,000 or
Oh
round
my
trip
God.
this, that 1,500. So what's the $1,000 flight? It's Tel Aviv, Amman, Los Angeles.
Would you risk that? That could be interesting.
I don't know. I'm going to see what he wants to do. I don't know. 2 hours stopover in Amman.
As long as it's not Kiev.
Or Turkey also. That's all.
Yeah, a lot of them go through Turkey. I wouldn't do that.
What
I'd
do
be
you
very
do?
nervous.
Oh, Erdogan. Yeah, my goodness.
I don't know. Israel wussed out in the UN. They wouldn't sign against Russia.
Yeah, they want to be neutral, but who knows?
Yeah, neutral
Well-
my foot.
I mean, he's good. At least he doesn't bother the Jews too much, Putin. So they got to keep that safe too. He doesn't want to go after the Jews. They're the first ones to go after, but he doesn't. He didn't bother him in Russia, and he won't bother him here. Fortunately,
Well, Zelensky's a Jew and he's bothering them.
I know, but not the.
There's 300. They say there's 300,000 Jews in Ukraine.
That's what I heard. Yeah. Oh, crazy.
Afam Aleph. Maybe the reason why they didn't consider somebody who keeps his chulin b'tahara like hegdish, because the idam the truma hatani truma. So what are you going to say? That a person who keeps his hegdish, keeps his chulin b'tahara, he's like truma? Well, we already learned truma. Vidam l'chulin hatani l'chulin. It's not. Chulin shenasu al tar sakodesh. If somebody treats his chulin as if it was hegdish, harein kechulin. And Rabbi Lezer Rabbi Tzadok harein ketruma. So maybe that's why it wasn't listed as a separate Maila. Elami Seifa. Yosef ben Yosef Haya Chosid Shebekuna. V'haisa mitpachto medris l'kodesh. Even though he kept Tahara like a Kohen, his handkerchief was a medris l'kodesh. And Yochanan ben Gudgoyda haya oichel al taras hakodesh kol yom avayz metatro medus lechatas, which is mechatas. Lechatas in lekodesh loy. Al maksav chulin shnasu al taras kodesh kekodesh namu. So we have a source that somebody who treats his chulin al taras hakodesh, it's on the same level. You don't have to have a separate level. It's on the same level as hegdish. Let's say he's got a hat on and it falls off. And he says to Chaveiro, Amar l'Chaveir Tznoli, and the son of L'Tmeya, because even though maybe his Chaver is taller, the person who wore the hat had Hesach Hadas. He took his mind off of it. It's not Shomer anymore. And it would be Tomei. Amar Rav Yechid ben Amram, Yischafu lo kelim shel Shabbos bekelim shel chol ulav shom. He thought they were his Shabbos clothes. He put on his regular clothes. Nitmu, for the same reason, since he thought they were other clothes. So it's a Hesach Hadas, and the Shmir is not good. Two women went to the bathhouse, and they each put on the other person's clothing by mistake. Again, it's a Hesach Hadas. If you do something without kavanah, it's considered Hesach Hadas. Maski for Rabbi Shaya, Elamiyata Hoishid Yoda L'Salito Paschitim. Let's say there's a basket of bread, and he put his hand into the basket and he thought he was going to grab a wheat bread. Also be able to pass and he took a barley bread. Hachanami the nitmes, is that a Hesach Hadas? And it's going to be tummy. The Chitei Mechanami, you're going to say yes. Vatanya Hamishamer Sachavis Becheskel Shul Yayin. You're watching a barrel, and you think it's wine barrel. The nimtzis shel shemen. It turns out it was oil d'oira milatami. So even though you made a mistake, it doesn't lead to tumah. So why, if you made a mistake regarding the bread, it does? So the Gemara says, well, tamechem is safe. Look at the safe of that brisa that you said. It becomes tameh if you touch the barley bread. Vasura mileachol. Yeah, it does not become tameh, but you can't eat it. Fine. On Rav Yehuda be'omer shmartir midavra metame v'lo midavra poisla. The shmira was only on something, a strong enough tumah that would allow the tumah to go further, like a sheni. A sheni could go to a shlishi. That's metame something else. But for example, a shlishi only puzzles truma, or let's say a sheni only puzzles truma, because a truma can't go beyond a shlishi. So once a sheni touches a truma, it becomes puzzle, not metame, because that shlishi can't go on to be makadosh something, metame something else, unless it's hekdesh. But in regular it doesn't. So the level of shmira was different. Is there such a thing like a half shmira that you could be shomer something for tumah that's metame versus tumah that's just pasul? The Gemara says in yes. Batanya, hoishet yoda b'sal v'sal ktefo. Person's carrying a basket on his shoulders, and he has bread in there. The hoishet yoda l'sal. He puts his hand in the basket, the magrefa b'toch hasal, and there's like a shovel there as well. He had his mind on the basket, not on the shovel. Hasal tar magrefa tmeya. So that's shmir lepalga. The sal, the basket remains tar. The shovel is tummy. Afraid the Gemara asal tar. Why, if there's a tummy dika shovel in the basket, why doesn't the tummy dika shovel metame the sal? Right? To tame amagrefa sal. And for the Gemara, ain't kli metame kli. A tummy kli cannot metame another kli. So therefore, the one kli can't be metame the sal. Vilatame ma besal I, but it can be metame oichel. And oichel can be metame from a kli. Again, it was a half shmira. I shomered it from things that can be metame further, but not things that just puzzle. We call makam kasha. So why is it that a person, when he makes a mistake, like we started out, he wanted to do paschitin and pasoirin, why should it be metame? A woman presented herself in front of Rabbi Shmuel. This garment I wove in a state of tahara. But I wove it b'tahara, but I didn't have in mind to be shomer. We talked Rabbi Shmuel asked her a whole bunch of questions. And in the questioning, Amra Lo, she blurted out and said, Rabbi, Nida Mashcha Ime B'chava. Yes. There was a woman who was a Nida who was pulling rope with me. Oh, Rabbi Shmuel Kamagdon, see, it made a difference. When a person has in their heart to be shomer, it'll always be tar. And if not, it'll become tummy. Like in this case. Woman presented herself from Rabbi Shmuel Amrlo. He said to him, Rabbi Mapazor Aktir B'Tahara. This tablecloth I wove in B'Tahara, but Lahai Belibi L'Shoimra, but I didn't have in my heart to be shomer. We talked Dikushai Rabbi Shmuel Boydka Amrlo Rabbi Nima Nifsikli Kshatir B'Peh. Yeah, while I was weaving this, a thread broke. I broke it off with my teeth, and therefore there's saliva there, and it made it wet. Because this became tummy through spittle. By Rabbi Elazar Rab Tzadok, who talked about the women who exchanged two garments. Each one can say, listen, these women are wives of Amei Haaretz. And they took their mind off of it, so it's Tamei. Rabbi Yonasan ben Amri, he's the one who made a difference, but he thought he was putting on his Shabbos clothes. He put on his Chol clothes. Even the Kelim de Shabbos avadushim tvei. Shabbos was a time where they watched their clothing more. So there was a little bit of a hesach hadas. El Rabbi Yonasan ben Eliezer, the one that took off his hat, why should that be considered hesach hadas? Why can't he watch it while the other guy's holding it? You can't be shomer something that your friend is holding. You can be shomer something you're holding, but not that your friend. Afraid to go more below? I'll show you that you can watch something that your friend is holding. Vatanya. His donkeys and his workers were carrying taharas. Even though he's ahead of them by a kilometer. Now they don't know that he went ahead. It's considered that it's still mishumer, taras of taharas. However, if he warns them and says, you know what, I'm going to walk behind you. Once they can't see him, then it's all tummy. Now the shaila is Maishna Reisha, Maishna Seifa. Why, when he just goes ahead, he doesn't say anything, it remains Torah. But if he tells them, it's tummy. The Reisha, he put them in the mikveh prior, and therefore there's no chash that they're tummy. So Ihachi Seifa Nami. So maybe he prepared them in the safe as well. Whereas Ein Amar Aretz Makpid al Maga Chaveiro. And Amar Aretz isn't careful by whether his friend touches him or not. So since maybe on the derech somebody else touched them, then that's why it becomes tummy. So Ihachi Reisha Nami. Well, why not in the Reisha? When he went ahead of them, if the Amar Aretz is not Makpid al Maga Chaveiro, it's the same thing. So the Gemara says, "B'volahem derech hakaloso." He's not walking directly behind him, but they can see him. He can go like diagonally. So it's like a yoytze v'nichnas by a mashgiach. Since every minute they're worried that he might show up, they're careful that they don't touch each other and they're not metamei. So in that situation, they're mashma themselves from the touch of an Amar. Yachi Seifa Nami. Well, if that's explained to the ratio, why in the Seifa maybe also he's going to come to buy a diagonal? He already told them, I'm going to come after you. So Mismach Sam Chadaitai. They're not, they'll be more trustworthy that he's the owner's not going to see them touching each other. And therefore they'll do it. They're not worried. And therefore that's why in that case it's Tomei.
There's a difference between Tomei and actually Posel, right? I mean, because of the
when you use the word, I'm metame something, what it implies is I've given the koyach to that next item, the koyach to transmit tuma further. So for example, a rishon touches a sheni. Well, a sheni can make a shlishi by truma. So when the Rishon touches the Sheni, we use the word, it's metame the Sheni. But for example, a Sheni that touches Truma only passes it. Because a Shlishi by Truma cannot go on and touch other things and make it Tomei. There. So there we would use the phraseology, a Sheni passes Truma. And it does not metame Truma.
I was talking about the donkey drivers, the goyim or Jews.
The donkey drivers are Jews, but they're Amei Haaretz.
Oh, so therefore, I thought we could, because if it was not, obviously, we usher to to drink altogether. It would be a different category. So we're talking about Jewish people.
These are Jews.
Yeah, so therefore it wouldn't be as far as drinking the wine. It would still
It's not
be permitted.
wine. A chamar is a donkey driver that's carrying loads of business.
So here he says wine, such as barrels of wine, from place to place. You know,
Could be barrels. It's chavio shel or he's carrying barrels of clay.
right? But as far as the wine, we're not afraid that if they open up the barrels, that it puzzles it.
But it's not wine. First of all, there's no goyim here. It's not yain nesa.
Okay, that's what it is. So it would be Ines, yeah. So we're not worried about that. Okay, that's right.
Mishnah. Koimer b'kodesh mi'b'trum. The level of hegdish and the level of being careful is more by hegdish than truma. Shemadbilin ken b'toch kelim l'truma. You can be toivel, a kli b'toch kli, to be metayar it, if you had enough size of the kli, avaloy l'kodesh, but the Gemara doesn't work kli b'toch kli. Achoyraim v'toch u'beis hatzvita b'truma. The back of the cup, like where you hold it, of kalim that are used for truma, those items become tamei by themselves without being tamei the whole kli. Avaloy b'kodesh, but not so b'kodesh. If part of the kli became tamei, the whole kli becomes tamei. Hanoisis a medras, noisis a truma. If something is tamei through a zav that sat on it, he can carry it as long as he doesn't touch it. Avaloyas hakodesh, but that doesn't work by hegdish. Big derech le truma medras lakodesh. Somebody who's wearing a garment who eats truma, those are going to be metame hegdish like a tumas medras. It's a higher level. The Mishnah says, "Lo kamidas hakodesh midas hatruma." Hegdish is not the same as truma. Shebekodesh matir umenagev umatbil va'achar kach kosher. Let's say you have a pile of kalim, or something that's tied up with rope. You're allowed to undo it, dry it up if it was wet, and then be toivel it, and then tie it up again. But betruma kosher v'achar kach matbil. You got to tie it up and then be toivel it. We're not worried about the chatzitza that exists by tying it up. Kelim anigmorim b'tahara. Let's say you made a kli and it was done b'tahara, that the gemar of the kli, they were careful not to become tomei. Still tzrichen tefillah l'kodesh. If you're going to use them for hagdish, you got to put them in the mikveh. Avaloy l'truma, but not as long as you prepared the kli. It doesn't need a tefillah for hegdish, like it does. Truma doesn't require that. Hakli mitzaref mash b'soichel kodesh. Everything that's in a kli, even if they don't touch each other, it's considered like one unit. You have multiple apples in a kli, and they're not touching each other. But if it's used for hegdish, then if you touch one item, everything inside becomes tamei. That's not the case by truma. Avaloy l'truma. Now, harivi b'kodesh pasul, meaning if a shlishi touched a hegdish, only hegdish can go to the level of revi. Truma can't. So a truma, which is a shlishi, touches hegdish, makes it a revi, can't go any further. So we use the term it pasels it. Only when the item that is tamei can convey the tuma to something else, do we use the word metame, not pasel. So haravi b'kodesh pasel. Shlishi b'truma. A sheni makes truma shlishi, but truma cannot go down to revi. Uva truma im nitmes achas miyadav. We know that the Chachamim said that if you touch certain things, your hands become tamei. Now let's say you only touched one hand. So when it comes to truma, chaverta tohira, the other hand remains tahor. But uva kodesh madbil shteim. If a rabbinic truma touched one hand, and you want to touch hegdish, you got to be toivel both hands. Shayad metamis chaverta b'kodesh avalo b'truma. We assume that one hand is going to be metame the other hand on the level of hegdish, but not on the level of truma. Oichlin neguvin biyadai mesuavis b'truma. If you have tummy-dike hands, but the food is dry and no water has touched it, you're allowed to eat it with tummy hands because the oichel was not hukshel l'kabel tuma with fluid. Avaloi b'kodesh. If the kodesh food is dry and your hands are tummy, by truma you're allowed to eat it and touch it, but by hegdish you're not. We see the chumrah of hegdish over truma. Then ha'oinen, somebody who died, somebody whose relative died, he hasn't been buried yet. Umechusar kippurim, that is people who were either a zav or a zava, a metzora or a yoledes, where they have to count 7 clean days. And on the 8th day, they have to go to the mikvah, and then they can eat kodshim. But until then, till the 8th day, they're called mechusar kippurim. Tzrichin tefillah l'kodesh, both an oinen and a mechusar kippurim, you need to go to the mikvah before you eat kodesh. Avaloi l'trum. But a mechusar kippurim and an oinen can eat trum and kodshim without going to the mikvah. The Gemara will explain the reason for that. Okay, so we're getting a baseline of